Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. October 19th, 2024. Linda McAllister stands in the Bodies exhibition at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center and feels something she hasn't felt in 25 years. Recognition. Not the good kind. The kind that makes your blood run cold. The kind that makes you question your sanity even as every cell in your body screams that you're right. The kind that tells you the son you've been searching for since 1999 is standing right in front of you. Plastinated, preserved, on display for $20 admission. But we need to go back. We need to understand how Linda got here. How a mother's 25-year search ends in a science museum. How a missing person case becomes a fight against an industry built on stolen bodies. This is that story. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Please note that the characters and events in this narrative have been dramatized and fictionalized for storytelling purposes. Now let me tell you what really happened. March 15th, 1999. Kyle McAllister is 21 years old, junior at University of Pittsburgh, pre-med student, 6'1", hockey player with a crooked smile and a scar above his right eye from a puck that caught him wrong sophomore year. He's the kind of kid every parent dreams of having. Smart, athletic, kind. The kind of kid who helps elderly neighbors carry groceries, who tutors struggling freshmen for free, who calls his mother every Sunday just to talk. Linda raised him alone after Robert got sick, worked double shifts at the diner to pay for his hockey equipment, drove him to practice at 5 in the morning, sat in freezing rinks cheering until her voice went hoarse. Did everything a mother could do to give her son a chance. And Kyle made the most of every chance. Graduated high school with honors, got a scholarship to Pitt. Was going to be a doctor, going to help people, going to make his mother proud. He already made her proud, every single day. Kyle walks out of his apartment on Forbes Avenue at 7:30 in the evening. He's supposed to meet someone. He doesn't tell his roommate who, just says he'll be back by midnight. He never comes back. 3 days later, his car is found in the parking garage at UPMC Presbyterian Hospital. Keys in the ignition, wallet on the passenger seat, cell phone in the cup holder, everything there except Kyle. Linda files a missing person report. Pittsburgh Police Department opens an investigation. They interview Kyle's friends, his professors, his hockey teammates. Everyone says the same thing. Kyle was happy, excited about medical school applications, had big plans, would never just leave. But the police see something else in Kyle's file, a minor drug charge from freshman year, marijuana possession. He'd tried cocaine once at a party, got caught, completed a diversion program, been clean for 2 years. None of that matters to the lead detective. He sees a college kid with a drug history and makes assumptions. The investigation lasts 6 weeks. They check hospitals, homeless shelters, bus stations. Nothing. No leads. No witnesses. No body. After 6 weeks, the case goes cold. The detective tells Linda that Kyle probably relapsed. That young men with drug histories sometimes disappear. That he'll probably turn up when he's ready. Linda knows better. A mother knows. Kyle was clean. Kyle wouldn't just leave. Something happened to him. She never stops looking. For 25 years, Linda searches. She plasters Pittsburgh with missing person posters every year on Kyle's birthday. She hires private investigators she can't afford. She joins missing persons support groups. She prays every Sunday at St. Michael's Catholic Church. She keeps Kyle's bedroom exactly as he left it, his Pitt hockey jersey on the wall, his baby shoes in a shadow box, his high school trophies gathering dust. People tell her to move on, to accept that Kyle is gone, to live her life, to let go. She can't, won't. A mother doesn't give up on her child. Linda is 58 years old now, works double shifts at the Eaton Park on Route 19, lives in a small apartment in Dormont, raised her granddaughter Haley alone after Haley's mother died in a car accident when Haley was 3 years old. Haley is 19 now, never met her father, only knows him through photos and Linda's stories. But Haley looks exactly like Kyle, same blue eyes, same stubborn jaw, same determination that borders on recklessness. It's Haley who asks Linda to go to the body's exhibition. "Grandma, please." Haley tugs on her arm, eyes bright with curiosity. "It's educational. I'm pre-nursing. I need to see real human anatomy." Linda doesn't want to go. The idea of looking at dead bodies makes her stomach turn. After spending 25 years searching for her dead son, the last thing she wants is to see corpses on display. But Haley is persistent, and Linda has never been able to say no to that face. Kyle's face. "Okay." Linda finally agrees, letting out a slow breath. "But if I get uncomfortable, we leave immediately." "Deal." Haley grins. They buy tickets on Saturday morning. $60 for two. The exhibition is packed. Families with children, school groups, medical students, tourists. Everyone here to see real human bodies preserved through plastination. Linda holds Haley's hand even though Haley is 19. Force of habit. The need to protect. The fear of losing someone else. They enter the first exhibition hall. The circulatory system. A full human body. Skin removed. Every vein and artery visible in red and blue. Preserved. Displayed. Real human tissue. Real organs. Linda feels sick. "These are real people," she whispers. "Anonymous donors," Haley reads from the educational placard. "They donated their bodies to science. This is for education." Linda stares at the body. Someone's father. Someone's son. Someone's husband. And here he is, sectioned and displayed for entertainment disguised as education. They move through the exhibits. Respiratory system, digestive system, nervous system. Each one, a real human being reduced to an anatomical lesson. Linda keeps her eyes down most of the time, focuses on Haley's excited explanations about muscle groups and organ systems, tries not to think about the fact that these were people who had lives and families and dreams. They reach the skeletal muscular system section, bodies posed in athletic positions, a runner mid-stride, a gymnast in a backflip, a hockey player winding up for a slap shot. The room smells like chemicals, formaldehyde and something else, something Linda can't identify. The lighting is bright, clinical, designed to highlight every detail of the preserved bodies, every muscle fiber, every tendon, every exposed bone. It's cold in here. Or maybe that's just Linda. She's been cold since they walked in. Cold in a way that has nothing to do with temperature. "Look at this one, Grandma." Haley pulls Linda toward the hockey player's specimen. The body is posed mid-swing, hockey stick raised, left leg planted, right leg extended back, muscles exposed in layers of red and brown preserved tissue, face partially plastinated. Some tissue preserved, some bone visible. Jaw exposed, showing teeth. The hands grip the hockey stick, dissected to show the intricate network of tendons and bones that allow such precise movement. It's grotesque. It's fascinating. It's someone's son displayed like a department store mannequin. Linda starts to turn away. She's seen enough. She wants to leave. Wants fresh air. Wants to forget that people pay money to look at dead bodies for entertainment. Then she sees something. The left leg, sectioned to show bone structure. There's something inside the femur. Metal. A titanium rod running the full length of the thigh bone. Linda stops moving. Stops breathing. Kyle had a rod in his femur. Motorcycle accident when he was 17. She remembers the hospital. The surgery. The doctor showing her the x-rays. The rod that would be inside her son forever. But lots of people have surgical hardware. Thousands of young men have femur rods. It doesn't mean anything. Linda forces herself to look away, but her eyes catch on something else. The right hand, gripping the hockey stick. The hand is dissected to show bone and tendon structure. And there, in the fourth metacarpal, she sees it. 2 small titanium pins, surgical hardware holding the bone together. Kyle had pins in his hand. Hockey fight when he was 16. Threw a punch wrong. Broke his hand. She remembers the emergency room, the x-rays showing the fracture, the surgery to insert the pins, the doctor saying the hardware would stay in forever. Linda's heart is pounding now. Her hands are shaking. She tells herself she's being ridiculous. Lots of people break their hands. This is just coincidence, but she can't stop looking. Her eyes move to the spine, the neck area. The vertebrae are exposed. And there, at C5 and C6, she sees it. Surgical hardware, fusion plates, screws. Kyle had his neck fused when he was 15. Diving accident at a friend's pool. Hit his head on the bottom. Almost paralyzed. The surgery saved him, but he had hardware in his neck forever. The doctors said he was lucky to walk again. Linda's vision is tunneling. She grabs the display railing to keep from falling. 3 distinctive markers. Femur rod, hand pins, fused vertebrae. What are the odds? She looks at the head, forces herself to look at the face. The plastinated tissue, the exposed jaw, the visible teeth, upper right incisor, titanium dental implant. Kyle lost that tooth in a hockey fight when he was 16. Took an elbow to the face. Linda remembers the blood, the emergency dentist visit, the implant that replaced his natural tooth. The implant is right there, titanium gleaming under the museum lights. 4 distinctive markers, 4 things that match her son, Haley. Linda's voice comes out as a whisper. Baby, look at this. What? Haley looks up, pulled from her pre-nursing fascination. Linda points at the leg with a shaking hand. The rod. See it? Haley looks. Yeah, surgical hardware. Someone had a bad injury. Your father had a rod in his femur. Motorcycle accident. He was 17. Haley's eyes widen. And the hand. Linda's voice is low, intense. Look at the right hand. The 4th metacarpal. See the pins? Haley looks. Her hands start trembling. There's hardware. 2 pins. Your father broke his hand in a hockey fight when he was 16. They put pins in that exact bone. I have the x-rays at home. Grandma, count the neck bones. The vertebrae. Look at C5 and C6. Haley looks. There's hardware. Fusion plates. Your father had neck fusion surgery when he was 15. Diving accident. Almost died. Linda points at the dental implant. Her finger is trembling so badly she can barely hold it steady. And that tooth, upper right, that's an implant. Your father lost that tooth in a hockey fight. I have pictures at home of him smiling with that gap before he got the implant. They stand there in silence, both staring at the specimen, neither wanting to say what they're both thinking. It can't be him. Haley finally says, shaking her head, these are anonymous donors from China or somewhere. This is a science exhibit. I know. Linda's voice cracks. Grandma, you've been looking for him for 25 years. You see him everywhere. Remember last year at the mall? You thought that man was him. Linda remembers. She followed a stranger through Ross Park Mall for 20 minutes before realizing it wasn't Kyle. She's done it dozens of times over the years. Chased ghosts, seen her son's face in crowds, been wrong every single time. This is the same thing, Haley says gently. You want it to be him so badly that you're seeing what you want to see. Linda looks at the specimen again. The rod, the pins, the vertebrae, the tooth, 4 markers, all matching. What are the odds that's coincidence? I need to ask someone, Linda says, her voice hardening. She approaches a museum staff member. Young white woman, early 20s, wearing a polo shirt with the body's exhibition logo. Excuse me, I have a question about one of the specimens. The staff member smiles brightly. Of course, what can I help you with? The hockey player in the muscular section. Do you have any information about who donated that body? The smile falters. All our donors are anonymous, ma'am. That's standard practice to protect privacy. But you must have records. Where they came from, how they were sourced. That information isn't available to visitors. The tone becomes clipped, practiced. Linda's voice is shaking now. I think that might be my son. The words hang in the air, heavy. Impossible. The staff member's expression shifts. Uncomfortable pity. The look you give someone who's clearly unstable. Ma'am, I understand this can be emotional, but these specimens come from certified medical suppliers. They're all verified donors who signed legal documents. My son went missing 25 years ago. That body has a femur rod that matches his surgery, pins in the hand that match his fracture, fused vertebrae that match his neck injury, and a dental implant that matches his tooth. Ma'am. The staff member's voice is firmer now. She takes a step back. I really can't help you with this. If you're feeling overwhelmed, we have a quiet room where you can sit down. I'm not overwhelmed. Linda's voice rises. I'm telling you that Specimen is my son. People are starting to stare. Other visitors, other staff members, phones coming out, recording. Ma'am, I'm going to call my supervisor. A manager arrives within minutes. White man, 40s. Name tag, says Brian. He has the expression of someone dealing with a problem that needs to be contained. What seems to be the issue? The staff member speaks before Linda can. This woman thinks one of the specimens is her missing son. Brian turns to Linda with practiced professional concern. Ma'am, I understand the exhibition can bring up strong emotions for some visitors. I'm not having an emotional reaction. I'm looking at my son's body on display in your museum. All of our specimens are ethically sourced from verified donors. They signed legal documents donating their bodies to science and education. My son didn't donate his body. He was 21 years old. He disappeared from Pittsburgh in March 1999. And that specimen has 4 unique medical identifiers that match his records. Brian's professional concern is hardening into annoyance. Ma'am, you're making serious accusations without evidence. If you continue to disrupt the exhibition, I'll have to ask security to escort you out. I'm not disrupting anything. I'm asking you to check your records on where that body came from. We don't share donor information. Privacy laws. I'm sorry, but you need to leave now. I paid to be here. I have a right to. Brian signals to security. 2 large men in uniform approach. Ma'am, let's go, one guard says. I'm not leaving until someone tells me where that body came from. You're disturbing other guests. You need to leave the premises. The guards grab Linda's arms. Firm, not gentle. Linda tries to pull away, but their grip tightens. Don't touch my grandmother, Haley shouts, stepping between them. Both of you, out, now. They escort Linda and Haley through the exhibition, past the staring crowds, past the families with children, past the school groups, everyone watching, everyone filming. Linda can see the phones pointed at her, a crazy woman causing a scene. That's what they see. That's what the videos will show. Outside, Linda is shaking with rage, with humiliation, with grief that's been building for 25 years. They threw us out like we were criminals, Haley says. Linda stares back at the convention center, at the building where her son is on display. That's Kyle in there. I know it is. Then we prove it. We find a lawyer. We make them test it. How? They won't even listen to me. Haley pulls out her phone. We find someone who will. Linda goes home and doesn't sleep. She pulls out boxes from her closet. 25 years of searching. Every document, every photo, every piece of Kyle's medical history. X-rays from the femur surgery. The rod is visible. Titanium, full length of the bone. Exact placement documented. X-rays from the hand surgery. The 4th metacarpal. 2 titanium pins clearly visible. Surgical notes describing the fracture repair. X-rays from the neck fusion. C5 and C6. Hardware visible. Surgeon's report describing the procedure. Dental records showing the implant. Upper right incisor. Titanium post, crown attached. Linda spreads it all out on her dining room table, stares at the evidence. 4 distinctive markers, all documented, all visible in that specimen. It's him. She knows it's him. But how does she prove it? Monday morning, Linda starts calling attorneys. She finds numbers online. Personal injury lawyers, medical malpractice lawyers. Anyone who might take a case against a museum. Most won't take her call. The ones who do think she's delusional. You think a museum specimen is your son based on similar surgeries? One lawyer asks, voice dripping with skepticism. Ma'am, thousands of people have surgical hardware. Not with all 4 markers matching. The rod and the hand pins and the vertebrae and the implant. I'm sorry. We can't help you. Click. Call after call. Rejection after rejection. Lawyers who don't believe her. Lawyers who think she's wasting their time. Lawyers who are polite but firm. We can't take this case. 15 calls, 15 rejections. On Tuesday afternoon, Linda tries one more number. Rebecca Thornton, personal injury attorney in Pittsburgh, takes cases other lawyers won't touch. Thornton Law Office. Hi, my name is Linda McAllister. I need help with a case involving the bodies exhibition. Hold on, let me transfer you. A moment later, a woman's voice. Strong, direct. This is Rebecca Thornton. You're calling about bodies exhibition? Yes. Linda rushes the words out. I know this sounds crazy, but I think one of their specimens is my son who went missing 25 years ago. Linda waits for the dismissal, the polite refusal, the click. Instead, Rebecca says, "Tell me everything." Linda does. The disappearance in '99, the cold case, the 25 years of searching, visiting the exhibition with Haley, seeing the specimen, the 4 markers, being thrown out. Rebecca listens, actually listens, takes notes, asks questions. Send me everything you have. Kyle's medical records, photos, the police reports, everything. I want to review it before I commit to anything. Can you help me? Send me the documents. Give me 48 hours. I'll call you back. Linda emails everything that night, scans every document, every photo, every piece of evidence. Rebecca calls back Thursday morning. I've reviewed everything. The probability of all 4 markers matching by coincidence is astronomically low, less than 1 in 5 billion. This warrants investigation. What do? We file an emergency petition for injunction. Stop the exhibition from leaving Pittsburgh. Demand DNA testing of the specimen. Will it work? I don't know. But Diana, I need you to understand. This is going to be hard. Museums don't let people DNA test their specimens just because someone thinks they recognize medical markers. We're going to face pushback. Intense pushback. I don't care. That's my son. I want him home. Then let's fight. Rebecca files the petition Friday morning. Emergency motion in Allegheny County Court requesting immediate injunction to prevent bodies exhibition from leaving Pittsburgh. Demanding court-ordered DNA testing of specimen identified as athletic male specimen 12, hockey player pose. The exhibition company's response is immediate and aggressive. 5 attorneys file an opposition motion by end of day Friday, arguing Linda has no standing, no evidence, no basis for disrupting a legitimate educational exhibition. The hearing is scheduled for Monday. Linda barely sleeps all weekend, practices what she'll say in court, goes over the medical records again and again, prays at church Sunday morning, begs God for strength. Monday morning, Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas, Judge Patricia Morrison presiding. Linda sits next to Rebecca in the courtroom. Across the aisle, 5 attorneys in expensive suits representing Bodies Exhibition Incorporated. Lead counsel is Richard Caldwell. Silver hair, expensive watch, voice that drips condescension. Judge Morrison reviews the petition. Miss Thornton, you're asking this court to halt a major scientific exhibition and authorize DNA testing of a specimen based on similar medical markers. Yes, Your Honor. My client has identified 4 distinct markers that match her missing son's documented medical history. Caldwell stands. Your Honor, this is absurd. Miss McAllister is a grieving mother who's been searching for her son for 25 years. We sympathize with her pain, but she cannot disrupt a legitimate educational exhibition based on wishful thinking and coincidental similarities. Wishful thinking? Rebecca's voice sharpens. My client has X-rays matching the specimen's surgical hardware, medical documentation of hand fracture repair, records of spinal fusion surgery, dental implant documentation. These are not coincidences. They are identification. They are exactly coincidences. Caldwell shoots back. Thousands of athletes have femur rods. Thousands of people break their hands. Spinal fusions are common procedures, and dental implants are everywhere. None of these markers are unique. The cumulative probability is speculation, not evidence. Caldwell smiles thinly. Your Honor, Miss McAllister looked at a plastinated specimen, which is disturbing for anyone, and in her grief-stricken state convinced herself it's her son. This happens. Grief makes people see patterns that aren't there. We cannot allow every person who lost someone to demand DNA testing of museum specimens. Linda can't stay silent. She stands up. That is my son. Miss McAllister, Judge Morrison says firmly. Sit down. You didn't see it. The rod is in the exact same position as his x-rays. The pins are in the exact same bone. The fusion is at the exact same vertebrae. Miss McAllister, sit down now or I'll hold you in contempt. Linda sits, tears streaming down her face. Rebecca puts a hand on her arm. Caldwell continues. Our specimens are ethically sourced from certified medical suppliers. All donors signed legal documents. We have extensive paperwork proving provenance and proper consent. Can we see that paperwork? Rebecca asks. It's confidential, donor privacy laws. How convenient. Judge Morrison looks tired. Miss Thornton, do you have any evidence beyond similarities in medical history? Any documentation linking this specific specimen to your client's son? The 4 markers collectively create a distinctive profile that, but no direct evidence, no chain of custody, no documentation. That's why we need DNA testing, Your Honor. One test will definitively prove or disprove the connection. Caldwell stands again. Your Honor, DNA testing would require destroying part of the specimen. These bodies are preserved for educational purposes, serving thousands of students. We cannot allow them to be damaged every time someone thinks they recognize a surgical scar. We would only need a small tissue sample. The answer is no. Caldwell's voice is final. These specimens are not evidence in random missing persons cases. They are educational tools purchased legally from licensed suppliers. Miss McAllister's grief does not override our property rights. Judge Morrison makes her decision. Linda can see it in her face before she speaks. I'm denying the petition, Miss McAllister. I understand your pain. I cannot imagine searching for a child for 25 years. But you haven't provided sufficient evidence to justify halting the exhibition or mandating invasive DNA testing. The similarities you've identified, while notable, are not unique enough to overcome the legal protections afforded to educational institutions. The gavel falls. Linda can't breathe. Haley is crying next to her. Rebecca is gathering papers, jaw tight with frustration. Caldwell and his team stand. One of the younger attorneys looks at Linda and smirks. She hears him whisper to a colleague as they walk past. Grief makes people crazy. Outside the courthouse, reporters are waiting. Someone tipped them off. Cameras. Microphones. Questions shouted. Miss McAllister, do you still believe the specimen is your son? Why do you think the judge ruled against you? Are you planning to appeal? Linda can't speak, can't process. She lost. Rebecca pulls her through the crowd, gets her into a car, drives her home in silence. That night, the story goes viral. Not the way Linda hoped. Local news headline: Woman claims museum body is missing son. Judge calls claims insufficient. The story spreads. Social media picks it up. And the comments are brutal. She's just looking for a payout. Grief is tragic, but this is delusional. She needs therapy, not a lawyer. How disrespectful to the actual donor who gave their body to science. Linda reads every comment, every cruel word, every person calling her crazy, calling her a liar, calling her a gold digger. Haley finds her at 2 in the morning, still scrolling. Grandma, stop, don't read that garbage. They think I'm insane. You're not. I saw those markers too. I believe you. Then why doesn't anyone else? Because the system protects money, protects institutions, not regular people like us. But we're not giving up. Linda looks at her granddaughter, Kyle's daughter, who never got to know her father, who deserves to know what happened to him. No, Linda says. We're not giving up. The next day, Linda makes a decision. If the courts won't help her, she'll find another way. She takes $5,000 out of her savings account. Everything she has, calls a private investigator. Frank Novak, former Pittsburgh PD detective, runs a small PI firm in Lawrenceville, takes cases the police won't touch. I'll be honest with you, Mrs. McAllister, Frank says. This is a long shot. Museums are tight-lipped about their sources. But I'll see what I can dig up. Frank starts investigating Bodies Exhibition Incorporated, their corporate structure, their suppliers, where they source specimens. He finds the company's history. Founded in 2005, claims all bodies come from verified donors, but there have been controversies. In 2008, allegations surfaced that some bodies came from executed Chinese prisoners. Bodies Exhibition denied it. Settled out of court. Records sealed. Frank keeps digging. Finds the name of their primary U.S. supplier, Atlantic Anatomical Services, based in Philadelphia. Owner Gerald Brennan, licensed anatomical broker since 1992. Frank calls Linda. Brennan's company supplies bodies to medical schools and exhibitions. He's licensed, legally operating. But here's what's interesting. In 2001, there was an investigation. Allegations he was obtaining bodies without proper consent. Nothing was proven. Case dropped for lack of evidence. Can you talk to him? I can try. Frank drives to Philadelphia. Shows up at Atlantic Anatomical Services unannounced. Brennan agrees to meet, probably assuming Frank is a potential client. I supply ethically sourced specimens, Brennan says. Silver hair, expensive suit, cold smile. Everything is properly documented and legal. Where do you source them? Various suppliers, medical schools with donated bodies, international brokers, morgues with unclaimed remains. Unclaimed remains? If a body goes unclaimed for 90 days in the United States, it becomes property of the state. States sell unclaimed bodies to anatomical suppliers. Perfectly legal. Did you have contracts with Pennsylvania morgues in the late 90s? Brennan's expression shifts. Suspicion replaces friendliness. Why are you asking? I'm investigating a case. A young man who went missing from Pittsburgh in 1999. His body may have been improperly classified as unclaimed. This conversation is over. Brennan stands abruptly. Get out. I'm just asking questions. You're making accusations. My business is legal. Every body I've ever handled was properly sourced. Now leave before I call security. Frank is escorted out, but he got what he needed. Brennan did business with Pennsylvania morgues in the late 90s, including UPMC Presbyterian. Kyle's car was found at UPMC Presbyterian. Frank calls Linda. We might have a connection. Brennan supplied bodies from UPMC in the late 90s. But we need more. We need proof. Linda feels hope for the first time since the court hearing. A connection, a lead, something. But how do they prove it? Rebecca has an idea. We can't win in court yet, but we can win in public opinion. We need media attention, real media, investigative journalism. Linda is reluctant. Social media already destroyed her. We need someone who will actually investigate, Rebecca insists. Someone with resources and credibility, not just local news, national investigative reporters. Rebecca contacts journalists. Most ignore the pitch, but one responds. Christine Walsh, investigative reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, specializes in medical industry scandals. Christine drives to Pittsburgh, interviews Linda, reviews every medical record, visits the Bodies Exhibition herself. She sees Specimen 12, the hockey player. She photographs the titanium rod. The hand pins, counts the fused vertebrae, sees the dental implant. This warrants investigation, Christine tells Linda. Give me 6 weeks. Christine digs deep. She investigates Bodies Exhibition suppliers, their history, their controversies. She contacts families of other people whose bodies were supposed to go to medical schools but ended up in for-profit exhibitions. She finds 7 families, 7 people who donated bodies to science and later discovered their relatives were being displayed in traveling exhibitions. Bodies they never consented to having shown publicly. Christine's article publishes 6 weeks later. Front page of the Philadelphia Inquirer website. The Bodies Trade. How Corpses Become Commerce. The article is devastating. Detailed investigation into the body trafficking industry. How bodies donated for medical education end up in for-profit exhibitions. How consent is murky at best, fabricated at worst. How companies exploit legal loopholes to source bodies without proper documentation. And prominently featured, Linda McAllister's story, photos of Kyle, his medical records, side-by-side comparison images showing the specimen's markers, matching Kyle's documented surgeries. Christine writes, while Linda McAllister cannot definitively prove the specimen is her son without DNA testing, which body's exhibition has refused, the cumulative probability of 4 unique medical markers matching is estimated at less than 1 in 5 billion. Exhibition officials have denied testing, citing donor privacy concerns and property rights. But these donors are supposed to be anonymous volunteers. Why the resistance to verification? What are they hiding? The article goes viral, legitimately viral, shared millions of times. National news picks it up. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, everyone covering the story. Public opinion shifts dramatically. Twitter erupts. If they have nothing to hide, why won't they do the DNA test? This woman has been searching for her son for 25 years. Give her answers. I'm never going to body's exhibition until they prove ethical sourcing. How many other anonymous donors are actually missing people? The exhibition company's stock drops. Ticket sales plummet. Multiple venues cancel upcoming shows. Bodies Exhibition Incorporated releases a statement. We stand by our ethical sourcing practices. Ms. McAllister's claims remain unsubstantiated. We will not destroy valuable educational specimens to placate unfounded accusations. But the pressure keeps mounting. Pennsylvania senator calls for federal investigation. Pittsburgh district attorney announces review of the case. Multiple families come forward, claiming their relatives' bodies might be in exhibitions without consent. The company is panicking. 2 weeks after the article, Pittsburgh Police Department Cold Case Unit reopens Kyle McAllister's missing person file. Not because they want to, because political and media pressure forces them to. Detective James Sullivan assigned to the case, 52 years old, 25 years in missing persons. He reviews the original 1999 investigation file. He calls Linda, Mrs. McAllister, I'd like to ask you some questions about your son's disappearance. They meet at a coffee shop. Sullivan brings the file. It's thin. Too thin for a case involving a missing college student. The original investigation lasted 6 weeks, Sullivan says. After that, it was classified as a voluntary missing person. That's why it went cold. My son didn't leave voluntarily. I believe you. Looking at this file, there are gaps. Things that should have been checked but weren't. Like what? Like the morgue. Your son's car was found at UPMC Presbyterian. But there's no record of anyone checking UPMC's morgue to see if an unidentified body came in around that time. Linda's heart stops. You didn't check the morgue? I wasn't on this case originally. But no, the lead detective didn't. When a person is reported missing, we don't automatically cross-reference John Does in morgues unless there's reason to believe the person is deceased. Kyle was young, healthy, had no indication of suicidal ideation or high-risk behavior beyond that old drug charge. The assumption was he left voluntarily. Even though his car was at a hospital, Sullivan looks uncomfortable. It should have been checked. That was an oversight. Check it now. Sullivan contacts UPMC's records department. Requests all unidentified or unclaimed bodies processed through their morgue in March 1999. The records are archived. Paper files stored off-site. It takes 3 weeks to retrieve them. Linda waits. 3 weeks of barely sleeping, barely eating, just waiting. Sullivan calls on a Wednesday afternoon. Linda knows from his voice that he found something. Mrs. McAllister. We need to meet in person. They meet at the police station. Sullivan has a file, much thicker than before. We found something. March 17th, 1999. A John Doe brought to UPMC morgue. White male, approximately 20 to 22 years old. Found in an alley behind the hospital. Cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. Linda can't breathe. Kyle? We don't know that yet. But the timing matches. The location matches. And here's what's significant. The body was held for 90 days as required by law. No one claimed it. No one identified it. After 90 days, The body was released. Released where? Sullivan slides a document across the table. Chain of custody form, June 15th, 1999. Released to Atlantic Anatomical Services, Gerald Brennan's company. Linda stares at the document. The same company that supplies Bodies Exhibition. The body that was in UPMC's morgue went to Brennan, so that specimen could be Kyle. It's possible. But Mrs. McAllister, there's something else you need to know. Sullivan pulls out another document. The morgue supervisor who signed off on releasing the body was a man named Donald Patterson. He worked at UPMC from 1995 to 2004. He was fired in 2004 following an internal investigation. What kind of investigation? Allegations he was taking payments from body brokers, that he was falsifying paperwork to release bodies that weren't actually unclaimed. The investigation found evidence he improperly released at least 12 bodies. But Patterson died in 2018. We can't question him. Linda processes this. A corrupt morgue supervisor selling bodies, including possibly Kyle's body. So my son was murdered. His body ended up at UPMC. This Patterson person classified him as unclaimed even though we filed a missing person report. Then Patterson sold my son's body to Brennan. Linda's hands are shaking. Her whole body is shaking. 25 years of questions. And now, finally, answers. Terrible answers. Unbearable answers. But answers nonetheless. Her son didn't abandon her, didn't run away, didn't choose to disappear. He was killed, murdered, and then his body was stolen, sold, displayed for profit while she searched desperately for any sign of him. All those years, all those prayers, all those nights lying awake wondering if he was alive somewhere, wondering if he'd forgotten her, wondering if she'd done something wrong. Something that made him leave. He never left. He was taken. Mrs. McAllister? Sullivan's voice is gentle. Are you okay? Linda laughs, a broken sound. No, I'm not okay. I haven't been okay for 25 years, but at least now I know why. That's what it looks like. But proving it is complicated. Patterson is dead. Brennan claims he acted in good faith, that he trusted the paperwork Patterson provided. The people who worked with Patterson are mostly dead, retired, or claiming they don't remember. What about the person who killed Kyle? That's an open investigation now. We're looking at cold cases from 1999, unsolved homicides, similar MO. But Mrs. McAllister, I need you to understand. It's been 25 years. Most of the evidence is gone. Witnesses' memories are unreliable. This is going to be very difficult to solve. But you're trying? Yes, we're trying. With the police findings, Rebecca files a new emergency petition, this time with Detective Sullivan's investigation attached. Chain of custody documents, evidence of the connection between UPMC, Patterson, Brennan, and Bodies Exhibition. Judge Morrison reviews the new evidence. Her expression is different this time, less skeptical, more disturbed. Miss Thornton, this is significantly different from your original petition. I'm authorizing DNA testing. Bodies Exhibition's attorneys object. Appeal, lose. The court orders DNA sampling from Specimen 12. The company complies under protest. A small tissue sample is extracted, sent to a forensic lab along with Linda's DNA and DNA extracted from Kyle's baby teeth that Linda saved. The wait is agony. 2 weeks for processing. 2 weeks where Linda can't sleep, can't eat, can barely function. She sits in her apartment staring at the walls, at the photos of Kyle, at the missing person posters she never took down. At 25 years of searching reduced to waiting for a phone call, Haley stays home from college, holds Linda's hand. They wait together. What if it's not him? Linda asks one night, 3 in the morning, neither of them sleeping. Then we keep looking. What if it is him? Haley is quiet for a long time. Then we bring him home. Finally, I don't know which answer I'm more afraid of. I know. Haley squeezes her hand. But either way, we face it together. That's what family does. Family. The word hits Linda like a physical blow. She thinks about all the family moments Kyle missed. Haley's first steps, her first words, her graduation, her acceptance to nursing school, all the birthdays and holidays and ordinary Tuesdays that make up a life. He missed all of it. Because someone killed him. Because someone stole his body. Because the system failed him at every single turn. I should have found him sooner, Linda says. I should have looked harder, should have pushed the police more, should have... Stop. Haley's voice is firm. You did everything you could. Everything. For 25 years. You never gave up. Never stopped looking. That's not failure, Grandma. That's love. Linda looks at her granddaughter, Kyle's daughter, who has his eyes, his determination, his stubborn refusal to accept injustice. When did you get so wise? I learned from you. They sit together in the darkness, waiting, hoping, fearing. Rebecca calls on a Tuesday morning. Linda answers before the first ring finishes. Linda. Rebecca's voice is thick. I just got the results. And? It's a match. 99.97% certainty. That specimen is Kyle. Linda drops the phone, falls to her knees. The floor is cold, hard, real. Something solid in a world that's suddenly spinning out of control. 25 years. 25 years of searching, of hoping, of praying, of refusing to give up even when everyone told her to let go. And now she knows. Her son has been dead since March 1999. Since 3 days after he walked out of his apartment to meet someone. Since the night someone killed him and left his body in an alley behind a hospital. While she was putting up posters, he was being processed. While she was begging police to keep looking, he was being preserved. While she was hiring private investigators she couldn't afford, he was being shipped across the country. While she was keeping his room exactly as he left it, he was on display for tourists who paid $20 to look at his exposed organs. 25 years. Her baby, her son, Specimen 12. Haley is screaming, crying, grabbing her. 25 years. 25 years of searching, of not knowing, of hoping and praying and wondering, and now she knows. Kyle has been dead since March 1999. While she was putting up posters, he was being plastinated. While she was begging police to keep looking, he was being shipped to museums. While she was keeping his room exactly as he left it, he was on display for tourists. Her baby, her son, Specimen 12. Linda screams, a sound of pure anguish. 25 years of grief pouring out. Haley holds her. We found him, Grandma. We finally found him. He was there the whole time, all those years. He was right there and nobody knew. The news breaks within hours. National headlines. DNA confirms museum specimen is missing Pennsylvania man. Mother's 25-year search ends at bodies exhibition. Kyle McAllister identified after quarter century as Specimen 12. Bodies Exhibition Incorporated releases a carefully worded statement. We are shocked and saddened by these findings. We purchased this specimen in good faith from a licensed supplier who provided documentation of legal sourcing. We had no knowledge of any impropriety. We express our deepest condolences to the McAllister family and will cooperate fully with all investigations. But Linda doesn't want condolences. She wants justice. Rebecca files a massive civil lawsuit. Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Defendants: Bodies Exhibition Incorporated, Atlantic Anatomical Services, Gerald Brennan, UPMC Presbyterian Hospital, Estate of Donald Patterson. Claims: wrongful death, illegal trafficking of human remains, negligent supervision, intentional infliction of emotional distress, violation of Pennsylvania's abuse of corpse statute. Damages sought: $30 million. The defendants hire expensive law firms, file motions to dismiss, claim immunity, claim good faith, claim statute of limitations. Judge Morrison denies most motions. This case is going to trial. Discovery is brutal. Depositions, document requests, each defendant pointing fingers at everyone else. Bodies Exhibition. We trusted our supplier. We had no way to verify every specimen's origin. Atlantic Anatomical. I relied on official paperwork from UPMC. Patterson defrauded everyone, not just the McAllisters. Patterson Patterson was a rogue employee who violated our policies. We terminated him when we discovered his misconduct. Estate of Patterson. Our client is deceased and cannot defend himself. No one accepting responsibility. Everyone claiming ignorance. Linda sits through every deposition. Watches these people in expensive suits explain why they're not responsible for what happened to her son. Gerald Brennan's deposition is particularly enraging. Rebecca questions him. Mr. Brennan, how much did you pay for the body you received from UPMC in June 1999? I don't recall the exact amount. Records show $900. Does that refresh your memory? If the records say that, then yes. And how much did you sell that body to Bodies Exhibition for? I don't recall. $8,000. Does that refresh your memory? Brennan's jaw tightens. That's standard industry markup. We process the specimens, prepare them for educational use, handle shipping and storage. You made over $7,000 profit from Kyle McAllister's stolen body. I didn't know it was stolen. I relied on documentation from UPMC. Did you ever verify that documentation? Cross-reference it with missing persons reports? That's not my responsibility. That's law enforcement's job. So you take no responsibility for trafficking a murdered young man's body? I provided a legal service based on official government documentation. If someone in that chain lied to me, that's not my fault. Linda watches him. This man who profited from her son's body, who feels no remorse, no guilt, just anger at being questioned. The trial is scheduled for March 2025, 4 months away. Meanwhile, the murder investigation stalls. Detective Sullivan calls with bad news. We've hit dead ends. The evidence from 1999 is mostly gone. The alley where Kyle was found has been redeveloped. Any physical evidence is long destroyed. We've interviewed people who knew Kyle back then, but no one remembers anything useful. What about suspects? We have theories. Kyle's phone records from that night show he called someone before he left his apartment. We traced the number. It belonged to his roommate, Derek Patterson. Patterson? Like the morgue supervisor? His son, Derek Patterson, was Kyle's roommate at Pitt. They had a falling out over money. Kyle loaned Derek $2,000 for tuition. Derek couldn't pay it back. They argued about it the week Kyle disappeared. So Derek killed him, and his father covered it up? Maybe, but Derek denies everything. Says he and Kyle made up. That Kyle told him not to worry about the money. Derek has an alibi for that night. Says he was at a fraternity party with witnesses. What if he's lying? What if he called his father to help cover up a murder? That's our theory too. Donald Patterson worked at UPMC's morgue. He would have known how to dispose of a body, make it look like an unclaimed John Doe. And we know he was corrupt. He was selling bodies illegally. So arrest Derek. We can't, not without evidence. Both Derek and Donald are denying everything. Donald's dead. Derek has lawyers. We don't have physical evidence linking either of them to Kyle's death. So no one gets charged? Not yet. The investigation is ongoing. But Linda, you need to prepare for the possibility that we might never solve Kyle's murder. Too much time has passed. Linda feels the familiar rage building. Kyle was murdered. His body was stolen and sold, and no one might ever pay for it criminally. But there's still the civil lawsuit. There's still the trial. There's still accountability, even if it's not the justice she wanted. Kyle's body is finally released from the exhibition. DNA evidence removed his anonymity. He can no longer be displayed as an anonymous educational specimen. Linda arranges a proper funeral. 25 years late. But finally Kyle is coming home. The service at St. Michael's Catholic Church is packed. Standing room only. Kyle's friends from Pitt. His hockey teammates, who never forgot him. Church members who prayed for him for 25 years. Reporters documenting the end of this nightmare. Haley speaks at the funeral. She stands at the pulpit, holding a photo of Kyle. I never met my father. My entire life, he's been a ghost. A name, a story my grandmother told me, a face in photographs. She never stopped looking for him, never gave up hope. And because she fought when everyone told her to quit, Because she refused to accept dismissal and doubt and humiliation, I finally get to say goodbye to him. Linda stands at Kyle's casket. Open casket. The funeral home did their best to restore him after years of plastination. They reconstructed what they could, made him look like himself again. But Linda can see the damage. The places where tissue was removed, where he was sectioned for display, where they cut into him to show anatomy to tourists. "I'm sorry," Linda whispers. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry it took me so long to find you. But I promise you, baby, they will answer for what they did. I won't stop fighting until they do." The burial is at Calvary Cemetery. Kyle is laid to rest next to his father, Robert, who died in 2010, never knowing what happened to his son. The gravestone reads, Kyle James McAllister. April 3rd, 1978. March 15th, 1999. Beloved son, father, friend, lost for 25 years, found by a mother who never stopped looking. Rest now. You're finally home. 2 weeks after the funeral, Linda sits in Rebecca's office reviewing trial preparation documents. The defendants are pushing for settlement talks, Rebecca says. How much? $3 million total, split between all defendants. UPMC would pay $1.5 million. Bodies Exhibition, $1 million. Atlantic Anatomical, $500,000. Patterson's estate, nothing. And in exchange? Non-disclosure agreement. Rebecca taps the document. You can't talk about the case publicly. Can't do media interviews. Can't advocate for reform. You take the money and disappear quietly. Linda doesn't have to think about it. No. You could use that money. Haley's education, a house, financial security. I don't want their money. I want them to admit what they did. In open court, under oath. I want the world to know they displayed my son for profit and didn't care enough to verify if he was stolen. Rebecca smiles. The first real smile Linda has seen from her. Then we go to trial. What are our chances? Honestly, 50-50. Juries are unpredictable. The defendants have good lawyers who will argue they acted in good faith. Even if we win, appeals could drag on for years. You might never see a verdict. I don't care. They need to answer for what they did. Then let's make them answer. Linda starts an advocacy group, Justice for Kyle and All Stolen Bodies. It grows to 70,000 members in weeks, families sharing stories, activists demanding reform, medical ethicists calling for regulation of the body donation industry. Linda becomes the face of a movement she never wanted to lead. But someone has to speak for the people who can't speak for themselves. The trial date approaches. Linda prepares her testimony, reviews documents, meets with Rebecca daily. Whatever happens, Rebecca tells her, you've already won something important. You found Kyle. You brought him home. You exposed an industry that exploits the dead. That matters. But if we lose, then we appeal. And if we lose the appeal, we keep fighting. This isn't just about money, Linda. This is about accountability. And you've already forced them to acknowledge what they did. Linda knows Rebecca is right, but she still wants the trial. Still wants to see these people on the stand. Under oath, forced to explain themselves. She wants justice. The trial begins March 10th, 2025. Linda is there every day, front row, watching, listening, making sure Kyle isn't forgotten. The courtroom is packed. Reporters in the back rows, families of other victims in the gallery, members of the Justice for Kyle Foundation wearing buttons with Kyle's face. Everyone watching, everyone waiting. Linda wears the same dress she wore to Kyle's funeral. Black, simple, appropriate. She wants the jury to see her grief, to understand what was taken from her. Not just a body, a son, a future. 25 years of not knowing. The trial lasts 3 weeks. 3 weeks of testimony. 3 weeks of evidence. 3 weeks of watching the defendants squirm and deflect and deny. Linda watches Brennan squirm under cross-examination. Watches him try to explain how he made $7,000 profit on her son's stolen body. Watches him claim ignorance, while documents prove he never verified a single piece of paperwork from Patterson. You just took the money, Rebecca says. Didn't ask questions, didn't verify, just took the money and sold the body. I trusted official documentation. You trusted a paycheck. You didn't care where these bodies came from as long as the money kept flowing. Brennan has no answer. The jury sees it. Linda sees them seeing it. She watches the UPMC administrators dodge questions about oversight, watches them claim Patterson was a rogue employee, even though he worked there for 9 years. Even though multiple complaints were filed about his behavior. Even though they did nothing until the investigation forced them to act. You created the system that allowed this to happen, Rebecca tells them. You failed to supervise, failed to verify, failed to protect the bodies in your care and the families who trusted you. She watches Bodies Exhibition's CEO claim ignorance while documents prove otherwise, prove that complaints had been filed before, prove that questions had been raised about sourcing, prove that they chose profit over ethics, every single time. You made millions displaying stolen bodies, Rebecca says. You knew there were questions about your supply chain. You chose not to ask them. Because asking might have cost you money. The jury deliberates for 4 days. Linda waits in the courthouse hallway. Haley beside her. Rebecca pacing. When they're called back in, Linda can barely breathe. The foreperson stands. On the claim of wrongful death against Bodies Exhibition Incorporated, we find for the plaintiff. On the claim of illegal trafficking against Atlantic Anatomical Services, we find for the plaintiff. On the claim of negligent supervision against UPMC Presbyterian Hospital, we find for the plaintiff. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Damages awarded, $18 million. Linda collapses into Haley's arms, sobbing, shaking. 25 years. 25 years of fighting. And finally, someone is being held accountable. It's not criminal justice. Derek Patterson is still free. The murder is still unsolved. But it's something. It's acknowledgement. It's vindication. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm. Mrs. McAllister, how do you feel about the verdict? Linda looks at the cameras, at the microphones, at the world that finally listened. I feel like my son matters. For 25 years, the system told me to move on, to accept, to let go. But I knew. A mother knows. And today, a jury confirmed what I always knew. My son didn't leave. He was taken. His body was stolen. And the people who profited from that have finally been held accountable. She pauses. This isn't just about Kyle. It's about every body in those exhibitions. Every anonymous donor who might not be anonymous at all. Every family still searching. I'm going to keep fighting until every body is properly identified, until every family gets answers, until this industry is regulated so this never happens again. Linda walks away from the courthouse, Haley beside her, Rebecca behind them. The fight isn't over. There will be appeals. There will be more battles. The murder may never be solved. But Kyle is home, buried with dignity, remembered, and his mother never stopped fighting. The appeals come, just as Rebecca predicted. Bodies Exhibition files first, then Atlantic Anatomical, then UPMC. Each one claiming the verdict was unjust. Each one trying to escape accountability. Linda fights every single one. The appeals take 18 months. 18 months of legal briefs and court appearances and waiting. 18 months of the defendants trying to wear her down, trying to make her give up. She doesn't give up. She never gives up. In September 2026, the Pennsylvania Superior Court upholds the verdict. All appeals denied. The $18 million judgment stands. Linda doesn't celebrate. There's nothing to celebrate. Her son is still dead. His killer is still free. The money can't bring Kyle back. But it can do something else. Linda uses the settlement to establish the Kyle McAllister Foundation, dedicated to reforming the body donation industry, to helping families of missing persons, to ensuring no other mother has to find her child on display in a museum. The foundation funds DNA testing for unidentified bodies in morgues across the country. In the first year alone, they help identify 37 John and Jane Does, 37 families who finally get answers, 37 people who finally get their names back. Linda visits the bodies exhibition one last time. The Pittsburgh venue closed permanently after the verdict. The building sits empty now, windows dark, doors locked, a monument to an industry exposed. She stands outside in the October rain, 27 years after Kyle disappeared. Almost to the day. "I kept my promise, baby," she whispers. "I found you. I brought you home. I made them answer for what they did." She pulls out her phone, opens the foundation's website, scrolls through the photos of identified bodies. 37 faces, 37 names, 37 families reunited with their lost. And I'm still fighting. For all of them. For everyone who can't fight for themselves. Haley appears beside her. 21 now. Graduated nursing school. Working at UPMC Presbyterian, of all places. Helping patients. Honoring her father's memory by pursuing the medical career he never got to have. "Ready to go, Grandma?" Linda takes one last look at the empty building, at the place where her nightmare ended and her mission began. "Yeah, I'm ready." They walk away together, grandmother and granddaughter, bound by loss, driven by love, unstoppable. The murder investigation eventually closes. Insufficient evidence, too much time passed. Derek Patterson is never charged. He lives in Ohio now, married, kids, a normal life built on a foundation of lies. Linda knows he did it, knows it in her bones, but knowing isn't proving, and the justice system requires proof. Some days, that knowledge burns like acid. Some days, she wants to scream at the unfairness of it all. But most days, she finds peace in what she did accomplish. She found Kyle. She brought him home. She exposed an industry. She changed laws. She helped dozens of families. That has to be enough, because that's all there is. Every year on March 15th, Linda visits Kyle's grave, brings flowers, talks to him, tells him about the foundation, about the families they've helped, about Haley's accomplishments, about the small victories that add up to something meaningful. "She's so much like you," Linda says, kneeling on the wet grass. "Stubborn, determined, won't take no for an answer. She's going to change the world, Kyle. Just like you would have. Just like you still are. Through her. Through the foundation. Through every family we help find their lost ones." She traces the letters of his name on the headstone. Kyle James McAllister. Her baby. Her boy. Her reason for fighting. "I miss you every single day. Every single day for 27 years now. That never goes away. The missing. The wanting you back. The wishing things had been different." She wipes tears from her eyes. "But I found you. That's what matters. You're not Specimen 12 anymore. You're not anonymous. You're Kyle. You're my son. You're Haley's father. You're remembered. You're loved. You're home." She stands slowly, knees aching. 60 years old now. Tired, but not defeated. Never defeated. "I'll see you next year, baby. Same time, same place. I'll tell you about everything the foundation accomplished, about all the families we helped, about all the bodies we identified." She kisses her fingers, presses them to the headstone. "Rest easy. Mama's still fighting, and I'm not stopping until every single body in every single exhibition is properly identified, until every family gets answers, until this never happens to anyone else ever again." She walks away from the grave, toward Haley's car, toward the foundation office, toward the next family who needs help. The story ends here, not with complete justice, not with all questions answered, not with the neat resolution that fiction promises and reality rarely delivers, but with something more important: a mother who never stopped searching, a son who was finally found, a granddaughter who carries his legacy, a foundation that helps others, and a simple truth that burns brighter than any injustice could ever dim. Love doesn't give up. Love doesn't surrender. Love doesn't accept defeat. Love fights until the very end and then keeps fighting beyond it. Love crosses years and miles and every obstacle the world throws in its path. That's Linda McAllister's story. That's Kyle McAllister's legacy. A life cut short but never forgotten. A body stolen but finally reclaimed. a name restored, a son brought home. That's everything. That's enough.